When using text fields and entering text into them, sometimes when our keyboard loads up, we can't really get rid of our keyboard. It's just stuck on the screen. So we need to be able to add a method to dismiss the keyboard when we're finished using it. And in this example here, we're going to continue on from our lecture where we displayed text within our label by using a text field. We can press our button here, it displays it in. We can't really return our keyboard or get rid of it. Now, if your keyboard isn't being displayed when you're using text fields, you go up to Hardware, to Keyboard, and you can toggle Keyboard Software. Okay, so what we're going to be doing then is creating an action or a function to be able to dismiss the keyboard. Now, as we already have an action in, which is controlling our UI button, what we're going to be doing is getting that action, scrolling down here to our connections, and we're going to disconnect it from our button. And then get rid of our button then. From our view, there we go. Push our label up a bit further. We're then going to select it and go back to our action and then place that action onto our UI text field. And then the action we're going to select is did end on exit. So what's basically going to happen then is we've placed that action onto our text field. But how does that action perform? Because the action that's getting performed is displaying the text from the text field into our label. And it's pretty simple. So what we're going to do is back into our main.storyboard, select our text field there, go to our attributes inspector, and for return key, select it from default to done. So that will create a done button on our keyboard. So if I go to display or build and run, enter our text now, we can enter whatever we like. And you can now see that we have a done button. We can press it and it dismisses our keyboard and displays hello within our view. And by adding that action did end on exit, and because we added a return key, that action is then performed when the exit of the action is performed in terms of dismissing the keyboard. But sometimes some devices, some older devices, some older iOSs, it doesn't really work like this, and we have to add this action in manually. So what we'll do is then place in a piece of code. So underneath our new action that we've added onto our UI text field, we do bracket self, and we need to resign the first responder. So end that with a semicolon. And what that does is resign the first responder on the screen. So the first responder on the screen is the view that's loaded over the view, which happens to be our keyboard. So add that in anyway for when you're developing on older iOSs or older devices. Even if the devices you're not using doesn't require to have it, it's still good to have it in anyway, just in case there's some bug that performs. We've always got that hard coded in to resume manually. So again, just to give you a quick rundown, we've got rid of the button and we've placed now this new action on our text field on a did end on exit event. So the action will only perform when the done button is pressed, and by pressing that done button it ends the action, and by ending the action it triggers the code within our button, which displays the text in our label, and it's going to resign the first responder, which dismisses the keyboard both manually through code, but because we're using new iOSs in this example, in iOS 9, we can press our done and it goes anyway. So there's nothing in that text field then, so I'm placing a load of stuff and press done. It dismisses anyway, but we've also had it hard coded to make sure it does, and it displays the text there. So that means we've got rid of the button and we've kind of freed up more space on the screen to add in more content within our application. So we now have a multiple action within the done feature of our text field. So there we go. That's simply how you dismiss the keyboard from the view by simply resigning the first responder manually, and how to get rid of it in iOS 9.